might be a little background noise because I'm sitting in the parking lot of Lowe's for no reason other than the fact that I'm getting ready for work and I need to put some jam on my edges. I hit them this morning, but you know, this is just like the midday fresh up. I went and had coffee with a friend, and then I stopped by what's it called? I stopped by a dispensary because she wanted some pre-rolls or something, child. And then while I was in there, and then, okay, yeah, we late. While I was in there, she we saw the sign that they had on there, and they was like, you know, please petition, send an email to Governor Abbott because he's trying to ban hemp products in Texas and blah 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 blah. And I was like, you know what, even though I have found out through trial and error in life and failures and success that these Texas hemp products, these legal Texas hemp products ain't for me, I realized that they might be for somebody else. And here's the thing too about that statement. At one point, I wasn't mad about the hemp products. I was not mad at them hemp products. I'm still not mad at them, right? Excuse me. But, they just not for me. Like, they are something that I use every now and then, periodically. You know, I stopped drinking liquor and like wine and stuff probably like when I'm 34, 29, probably about 5 years ago. And every now and then I might have a little sip here and there, but I don't as much as I did because I don't think I had an alcohol problem. I don't think I was an alcoholic, but there was once a point in my life where I was, you know, sorry, that's not funny. That's not funny because that man was really trying to prevent what just happened to him. Poor thing. Y'all slow down. Let him get his shit. Okay, he good. There was once a time where I was probably throwing back, like, you know, them little medium, I call them medium size because it's not the super tiny bottle of the Remy, but it's not like the Coke bottle of the Remy. It's that one little, you know, size that you probably see your uncle with at the cookout or something like that. Baby, I was tossing about 2 of them back a week. I ain't see no problem with it until I had a really, really, really bad crash out. Not like violent crash out. I'll talk about it because I've never talked about this, and then I'll get on the subject that I came to talk about. But I was coming from a friend's house. We had been drinking all day. I had my Remy with me. I had just went to the liquor store. I had got me a bottle of Remy. I'm gonna go to the house. I'm gonna pull me up a little drink. At that time, I used to do Remy on ice with a little squeeze of lemon, and that was my thing. I was drinking it kind of straight like that, right? And I get to the house. But I'm sorry, on my way to the house, police pulls up behind me, okay? And I didn't realize how drunk I was because I was a functional drunk, okay? Like, but I've learned now because I went through therapy, and anywho, we'll have to talk about that another time, okay? When I'm ready to talk about it. But I think at this moment, this story that I'm talking about is when I realized I had a real problem. And anywho, I was on the way home. I think I already said that. And the police pulls up behind me, and I immediately went into a panic attack. I do not know why, okay? I didn't have anything on me. I didn't have anything illegal on me. The only thing I had really been doing was drinking, and it was only like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But it had to be like during the time when it was like the winter time or maybe the early fall or something. This was years ago. Because I remember it being kind of dark outside, but me and the guy that I had been out with, we was day drinking, right? So I have this extreme panic attack while I'm driving, and I can't get control of myself. But I'm breathing and everything, and I'm like, okay, I just got to find a parking lot to pull into. I got to pull into a parking lot. It seemed like it was taking forever for me to get to this dang parking spot, or to this parking lot, because I was on like a service road, and I wanted to get into a parking lot where I could like chill and breathe, because if he was about to pull me over, like, I did not know how I was going to respond, how I was going to react. I don't know why I was so panicky like that. He followed me all the way up that service road, And I'm like, okay, he finna pull me over at some point. He never did. Because, baby, when I tell you I started praying, I believe in the Lord. I believe in the Lord. I started praying. I'm like, Lord, if you just get me to this parking lot that I'm thinking of in my head. I don't know which parking lot it is, but if you get me there, then I promise you I will cut back on drink. I'll cut back on whatever it was I was doing, blah, blah, blah. I get up to this Kroger parking lot. It might have been Tom Thumb, one or two. This is when I was staying in Plano. And I pull into the parking lot and he keeps going. So at that point, I knew that this was just me responding to this in a way that was like mentally kind of distorted or whatever. And I caught my breath. I probably sat there for about maybe 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. You know, I'm recapping the story. This is a recall. So, you know, but I sat there for what seemed like in, you know, recall about 15 minutes. And I go home because my home was like maybe like 2-3 minutes driving distance from the parking lot I was in. And I'm thinking everything is fine by then, right? I go upstairs, I get in the house, I go to the thermostat, I turn on the thermostat or whatever, you know, turning the heat on or turn the air on, whatever I was doing. And I immediately just broke down crying. But let me tell you what I didn't forget to do. I didn't forget to pull up that Remy, girl. I did not forget to pull up that Remy. Remy boy, yeah. Ain't that what Fetty might be saying? I know he don't say it like that, but you know, I didn't forget to pull up that Remy. Talk about Remy girl. I didn't forget. I probably cried for about an hour. Okay. Pulled up the Remy, drunk my drink, and in my mind at the time, I told myself, like I remember vividly telling myself, oh, all I needed was this drink. At that point I knew, bitch, check yourself into something. Cause yeah, no, that don't even make no damn sense. That don't even make no damn sense. Like what? Girl, you just had a panic attack from alcohol. You thought the police was about to pull you over. Didn't really have a reason to pull you over. Everything was, you know, up there. You had nothing illegal on you other than the fact that you might have been a little, you know, tipsy, but you know, maybe I wasn't as drunk as I thought I was, or maybe I was, and you know, subconsciously was like, damn, if this man pulled me over, I'm probably gonna get a DUI, something like that. Man never pulled me over, by the grace of God. And you thought, yeah, I'm talking to the second person. You thought that the thing you needed in all of this was another drink. So, with that said, since then, I don't know. I haven't really craved alcohol like I used to. I think my problems used to crave alcohol, or the state of my mental health used to crave alcohol. But since I got that kind of taken care of, went through my mental health journey, I was on that for like 5 years. There was actually one point in time where I was actually kind of nervous about quitting therapy, because I was like, oh, I don't want to resort back to, you know, my poor mental state or any poor mental health. But towards the end of my mental health journey, I just decided to go ahead and get on some medication. In hindsight, I realized that my mental health, the length of my mental health journey was really a reflection of the fact that I thought I knew more than them doctors did. I thought I knew more than them therapists and psychiatrists did. And culturally, you know, I'm taught you don't take no medicine. You don't put them people in your business, blah, 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 blah. And finally, because I was just tired of paying for the services, I decided, okay, this is what I'm finna do. I'm finna go to a mental health facility where they're finna hold me accountable and they're finna hold me responsible. I knew by then, because I had been like 4 years into my journey, that I wanted a mental health or a therapy session that was more CBT, that's cognitive based therapy, to help me think about these things. Because I know that I'm a person who is more active in the mind. And I don't want to say this out loud, but I feel like I need to, for the sake of the story that I'm telling, and just to give glory to God and the testimony and everything. Because I am so active in the mind, I know that that's where the attacks start. And so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of my journey has been mental, has been fixing the mental health, has been pulling apart the roots and the seeds in my mind that didn't belong there. And rewiring some of the thinking and some of the thinking patterns. Yes, it took a very long time, and they will tell you that in therapy. This ain't gonna be no overnight thing. They not lying, okay? You can't expedite the process, you just gotta go through it. But I say all that to basically say, you know, everything with me, it seems as if it starts in the mind. And so I knew I wanted the CBT. I knew I wanted the cognitive based therapy, because I knew that it came with what I found through my research was called psych ed, which is just psychological education. I can process things better when I know the why behind it. And it's the reason why so many people in my inner circle be like, Jazz, bitch, you got a little sprinkle of autism. I don't know, girl. Possibly. But I always tell them this, like, look, y'all, if I do, I've gotten this far in life with it. I'm not in a bad state of mind. I believe in therapy so much more now than I ever did before. So if it ever starts to get bad, or I start to notice that things are looking kind of funky, looking weird, I know to go and talk to a therapist. I try to talk to therapists as quickly as I possibly can, especially if something has happened that kind of has me thinking, like, had me thinking too much about it. You know, if it's an unhealthy obsession of thinking around something, I'll go to a therapist. I've learned the difference between big trauma and small trauma. And so just like you would go get a regular checkup, or just like you would go to the doctor if you had a sinus infection or something like that, I have learned through CBT. And, you know, that last therapy program that I went through, which was actually a very excellent program. If anybody wants to know, the name of the program was called Reflections. I went to the one in Plano. I think they have another one in Louisville or the Colony, but they might have some sprinkled out and throughout. But maybe if that's outside of reasonable distance, you know, travel distance for anybody, call them, reach out to them, and see if they have any like affiliates or partners, and see if you can go through the program, because it was a really, really good program. I went through the program for like 6 weeks. 6 weeks, I couldn't say that straight. And did take the medicine. I was on the medicine for like a year and a half maybe, and then I finally got off, but not by doctor's orders. I just had a situation that happened in life and I couldn't afford it anymore. But shout out to my psychiatrist, because she set me up. She set me up real nicely. And so, you know, I had what I needed while I transitioned, and while I wasn't able to see them. I'm saying transition, I don't like to use that word. While I, you know, made moves and had to adjust to this new life change that was happening at the time. And while I wasn't able to go and get the treatment or go to the treatment center. So with that being said, did not know I had a little eye booger. Now I'm in this place in my life where I understand cognitive impairment a little bit more. So back to what I was saying earlier before I went into this rabbit hole. Stopped by the dispensary with my homegirl. She got whatever she needed. I was like, no, I'm good. But I think I'm starting to have the same relationship with like cannabis and hemp and all that stuff the same way that I had the relationship with alcohol. Like, I mean, in the terms of like using it in a way that's like purposeful. Because just like with the alcohol, I found myself thinking that the hemp products were going to be the best thing in alternative, or as an alternative to alcohol, and that just did not work for me. Okay, but like I said, there were times when it was good, especially when I went to smoke shops and things that people were there and they knew what they were talking about. Then I could monitor it a whole lot better. But I just don't, me personally, this is me, I just don't like not knowing what's going on around me. I don't like to feel like I can't control the substance. And a lot of times with hemp products, at least what has happened to me, somebody else might be able to relate. You could smoke it today, you know, mildly smoke it, get you about like 1 or 2 puffs off of it and be good. You know, you get you a good little percentage of the THCA, chill out the house, you know, you finna be, you know, just watching a movie or chilling. It'll be good. It'll be good day 1, it'll be good day 2. You take a break, maybe you come back next week, you're trying to wind down after like a really busy, productive day at work, and you smoke the same amount, and all of a sudden, bitch, the room is spinning, you spinning around, head turning around like the Exorcist and shit, like nope. That type of stuff I don't like to deal with, because I will say, at least like with alcohol or like marijuana and stuff, you know your limit. You get to that feeling, you're like, all right, this it, like, put it down. I don't really want to be bothered with it. Them hemp products, them legalized Texas hemp products, them things is something else. And you can't, there is no particular limit. 2 puffs today that make you feel good today could be 2 puffs tomorrow that got you out here in an outer body experience and on a fucking psychedelic, sorry, I mean to cuss, on a psychedelic trip you ain't asked to be on. So with that being said, I have decided it's not for me. But I do see the benefits of it, and I'm not saying that I'm completely turned off of it, but for some people they may not have that same experience and they might need that product. So, you know, I'm gonna do their little campaign. I took a picture of the QR code. I'm gonna send whatever they asking me to send to Mr. Abbott and be like, hey bro, you know, sometimes people need this stuff. But what I think he needs to do, I think he needs to get people more informed about the product. He needs to have people who are for the product get behind the product in a way where there's testing and stuff, so that way when they're in these smoke shops and they're selling this stuff to people, they can talk to people about it in a way that says, you probably shouldn't take any more than this, come back and see me. Or honestly, just do it like they do it in the medicine field. I'm gonna start you on a small dose, let me know how that is, and then, you know, we'll take it from there. Because I really do think a lot of it has to do with the dosage. Because even when you look on the pre-rolls, it'll tell you how many milligrams is in there. Some of that stuff be having like 150 milligrams, 170 some milligrams. That's a lot of milligrams of drugs. Whatever they use in there to medicate it or make it medical or medicinal, those are drugs. It's drugs. And you just need to make sure that, at least what I learned when I was in my therapy session, you have to make sure that whatever medicine you taking responds well with your psyche. They put me on some medicine that was pretty good, but I didn't have all them psychedelic trips and stuff. It didn't come with all of that. And it did take about 90 days for it to kind of balance out my brain chemistry and get things kind of online in a way so I could then receive the therapy. Because I feel like it took me 4 years to really see the effects of therapy, because I was getting all this therapy, but it wasn't settling in. My brain wasn't brought up to a standard to receive it. Anyhow, 17 minutes into a video about a totally different topic, and I need to hurry up at this point. But the topic of today is, God will put you in a situation where you have to learn what's necessary for whatever it is that you're asking for in prayer. So I've definitely been on this journey with God and trying to figure out how to bring God into my finances, how to start wealth building, because the Bible says that a man who does not leave something stored up for his kids, when I read the Bible and I see man, I think man as a human, right? And I know that they use his, but you know, those are translated versions and things of that nature. Nonetheless, people who don't leave anything stored up for the next generations to come, who don't wealth build, who don't make sure that the family has something where they'll be set in this world, it's an evil. It's foolish. And I just want to make sure that what I do going forward is glorifying God with my finances and leaning towards what God has in store for building up wealthy and riches for his people and his servants. And so I have been praying about what I wanted and how I kind of wanted to execute it. And a bunch of stuff happened, and God got me through it like he always does. But in the middle of all of this stuff happening, I ended up signing a lease that was a hot mess. Okay, I'm still currently in that lease. That's a hot mess. And the thing about me is I am really very, very particular about my home living situation. I like to kind of coin myself as a self-branded and a self-made homemaker for myself. Hopefully for children and a husband soon. But yeah, I have not been able to get comfortable in this house. And my initial thought was just to abandon the lease, okay? Because I don't like it. I haven't liked it since day one. And I've been praying and asking God that my next move be the move where I can get stable and I can actually just for the first time in a very long time enjoy my home. Even though I have rented properties and have rented places and spaces, I have never been able to fully enjoy my home in a way that I would like to enjoy my home. But this situation is nothing like those previous situations. There was a time where when it was time to go home, I absolutely dreaded going home, and I'm a homebody. Okay. But I went through what I had to go through in all of that, and you know, I'm still working through it. I got about, wait, let me see. I got about 6 more months of the lease left. So I'm halfway through it. And I know getting through a year of a lease is not too difficult. You know, a year will go by pretty fast. But when you're in the middle of a situation you don't want to be in, sometimes that year seems like it is drudging along. And with that said, I know where I want to be after I get out of this lease. I think I know what area I want to live in. I've lived in a lot of areas, but I think I know what area I want to live in. It's pretty close proximity to where I am right now, but it is closer to my job than the place that I'm staying at right now. And it's in the middle of an area where things are pretty thriving and moving along. And I kind of want to be close to that. I don't want to be so city that, you know, you got a plan to leave the house an hour and a half. You got somewhere to be because you're going to have to take 30 minutes to get across the city when without traffic it take 5. I've been there. But I also don't want to be so country that you got to drive 30 minutes in town to get stuff. You know, I don't want all that. So I think I found the place, or found the city. And I really was considering using a referral and breaking the lease that I'm in right now. But then I said to myself, that's not going to be very smart, because then I will have moved on from this situation, and this situation will still be lingering, because I don't know what direction the landlord is going to take in terms of basically trying to hold me responsible for financial obligations that I signed up for. At the minimum, I have guaranteed that I will be a source of income for 1 year. So here we are. And so yesterday I was calling around, and somebody had gave me a referral to their apartment complex, and they were like, yeah, the rent is just as comparable to what you're paying right now. But when I went to go see where the property was, I was like, it's not really giving what I wanted to give. Like, I'm really serious about me getting somewhere where I can get settled for at least the next 4 or 5 years until I decide what I want to do as far as a home, and want to find out if this company that I'm with is really stable and all that stuff like that. Life has taught me, like, give it 5 years to see where things are going before you really make a move. And the Bible always also talks about the 5 years. And when I was at Capital One, I was with the career coach, and we put together a 5-year plan. It didn't work, but I realized through that plans don't usually work until you find some type of stability, and I was not stable at that time. So with that being said, now I'm ready to put myself in a situation where I can get planted, and I can really start to plan and actually see my plans with God come to fruition. But I was on the brink of being like, look, the man on the phone was like, yeah, I can probably get you in what you're looking for by like March or April. I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, if he can get me in what I'm looking for by like March or April, I only have like 5 months left of this lease. Cool, let's do that. But then when I thought about it, I was like, but is that really gonna be worth it? Like, is it really gonna be worth it to jump ship now, still probably be dealing with this landlord, and I can't, Jesus, be nice, Jess. Don't let it come out. She's a nice woman. She's a nice woman. I realized I ain't been looking at this camera this whole time, but it's because I'm spitballing right now. Anywho, let me try to look at the camera. Let me hear you, so I gotta go to work. What's I saying? Yeah, she's a nice woman, and but I don't want to deal with this nice woman anymore once I'm done with her completely. And so with that being said, I'm like, if I jump ship now, I am probably gonna regret the fact that I left, because that 5 months gonna go by so fast. Like, by the time he can get me in what I'm looking for, by the time I move and pay him money and all that stuff like that 5 months gonna go by fast. But then by then I'm already be in another lease, and who's to say that that's really where I'm gonna want to be, because it's not really where I want to be. You know, as of right now when I'm looking at it, it's not really where I want to be. So I was like, you know what, Jazz, just stay. This will be the first time in my life where I have been in a situation that I don't want to be in, and I'm choosing to still stay in it despite of, for a couple of reasons. By contractual law, I'm obligated to do so. Morally, I'm obligated to do so. Obligated to do so. I know the Lord will not be pleased unless the Lord come through miraculously and do something and give me out this lease. That's the only way it's gonna happen before the end of this lease in September. Until then, I'm in it. I work for the most part, so I'm barely even there. I've kind of figured out some ways to work around some of the crazy stuff, but one of the things I refuse to do was put a bunch of furniture and stuff in this house, because I don't want I don't want to bring anything from that house into my new space. Like, I'm telling you, like, the way I'm praying about this and working this with God, when I get in my new space, I am going to be in my new space. Like, everything gonna be brand new. Okay? Brand new. As brand new as renting can get you, it's gonna be that brand new. Okay? And so, with that said, I was praying, and this is where I'm gonna wrap up the video, because again, I gotta go to work. I'm still out here talking. I ain't got no other form of tracking the time. But anyway, I was praying, and I feel like God started to reveal to me through just my thoughts and experiences and other people's stories. It's not so much about getting to the other side of this and seeing the miracle or the blessings on the other side. That's a standard part of believing in God. So I know that to be something that comes with the deal. So I don't even be like, oh, I'm gonna stick this out because the Lord gonna bless me on the other side. I already know that. Okay? It's not even about knowing that the fruits of the spirits from patience is gonna be readily available on the other side as well, because I know that's a standard part of the package, right? What it's about is God showing me that in wealth building and trying to align my finances with what he wants for me, that I cannot give my money to anybody. I'm gonna say it again. Clock that. I cannot give my money to just anybody. Spending money is a very, very considerate decision. You want to spend money with people who align with you more than people who do not. I'm not saying that it's going to be a perfect alignment, but when it comes down to work, when it comes down to how you spend your money, and when it comes down to how you take money in exchange for services that you give to people, you need to make sure that on a characteristic level, on a spiritual level, on a lifestyle level, on a cleanliness level, on a belief level, on a faith level, on a work ethic level, you need to make sure that you are giving your money to people who will do right by you and who will do right by that exchange and that interaction. Because here was the other part that God dropped in my spirit, that the Holy Spirit dropped on me. Money is power. I'm not saying anything that's profound, but follow me. Money is power, meaning that every time you give somebody your money, you are giving them power. Now, when you become the lender in the situation where you're the person who is securing somebody's income, you have a certain power as well. Okay, leases and contracts have taught me that. But on the other side of it as well, the other side of the coin is when you give that person your money, you have given them your money. If the contracts say you got to give them money for a year, it don't matter if they've earned it, if they deserve it, or if they are worthy of it. Now you finna be giving somebody your hard-earned money for a year. And in the situation that I am in with this nice lady, because I could say some other things. In the situation that I'm in with this real nice, lovely lady, I wouldn't give her 2 grains of rice if it was left to me. At this point, I realize that I work to give her something that I feel like she does not deserve, and I work hard for my money. And so at least I would like to work hard for my money and know that I'm giving it to somebody who is worthy of it. And she just not that. And so in that moment, God said, I'm showing you what it is like to hop in a situation where you haven't taken into consideration all of the things that you need and what you need that situation to pour into you in exchange for your hard work. You need your money to be working just as hard for you as you working for it. And it ain't gonna be, you're realizing now that it's not with this lady. And you also are going to find out if you jump ship now that it's not gonna be with this man that's trying to put you in the apartment. He's a property manager. And then you still gonna be dealing with this real nice lady. And when you get your money tied up and all of that, and then also it's no guarantees that he's gonna deliver on anything that I'm looking for and that I need, this might be a whole nother year or a little bit more of me dealing with situations where my money is making me feel powerless because I'm giving it to somebody who don't deserve it. So I just came to drop that off because I felt like it was powerful and I felt like it was good, and I have to get to work too, so let me wrap this up. But I hope everybody who's under the sound of my voice hears it and applies it where it's necessary to be applied. And I hope that more people understand the power of money. What's weird about money is that it is not a real thing, but it is a real thing. It is not a real thing, but it is everything, okay? And so the next time I need to say something, which I do feel like I got another video coming, more specifically about a situation where I was trusting God up until a certain point, and then I went back and hooked up with this person, not sexually or anything, like we linked back up, and it took me almost a year to realize, oh my gosh, God was about to bless me right then and there at that moment. And I took it upon myself to dip back and link up with this person, and that link up with that person was not what God intended, and it delayed everything that could have been a blessing and a testimony, that God wanted to be a blessing and a testimony, because I took it upon myself to do some stuff that didn't align with what God would have wanted for me in that situation and in that season. It was right when I was on the brink of really getting a solidified graphic design job. So stay tuned, that one's coming next.